I found a hidden folder on my husband's phone, filled with secret pictures and videos he took of his former secretary without her knowing. I'm shocked and unsure how to confront him about this betrayal. I've been married for 3 years, and we've been together for over 5 years. After a long academic journey, we're both at the start of our careers and doing quite well. We recently bought our dream home and are enjoying the time we have before planning to start a family in a couple of years. Our relationship always felt like it was built to last. We share the same values, humor, and goals. We're both mature and experienced enough to know this isn't just infatuation or something superficial. We've always had an open phone policy, grabbing each other's phones to look something up or share pictures, which came naturally. We both have iPhones, and recently, I found out about the feature that allows you to hide photos in a special folder. That caught my attention when I thought about his phone. So last Monday, while he was out at swim practice and left his phone at home, I decided to take a look. What I found was beyond anything I could have imagined. I expected maybe some random porn or old pictures of his ex. Instead, I found pictures and slow-motion videos he took over a few weeks at his office of his former secretary, a pretty 21-year-old woman. These pictures started around the time he knew he was leaving his job and likely wouldn't see her again. They focused mainly on her legs, heels, and backside. He had also saved some of her profile pictures from social media. But the most disturbing part was a series of pictures where she was wearing tight jeans with fresh stains on them that appeared to be sperm. He has a known fetish for this type of thing in porn and real life. I was, and still am, in shock. I haven't spoken to him about it yet, though he's noticed I've been acting off. When he asked what was wrong, I just blamed it on my period, which was partly true. I really need advice on how to handle this. Should I even bring it up? Is this normal behavior? Has anyone been through something similar? Edit. I want to thank everyone for the supportive comments. I realized I should add some more details. He would often talk about her when discussing his workday, but nothing ever seemed inappropriate, just small talk, like what she did over the weekend. He did, however, enjoy making me a bit jealous at times by mentioning how attractive other women were, though I thought it was just a little game to him. Most of the time, I didn't take it seriously. There's no longer any connection between them on social media, and the only contact they have now is through work-related messages about unfinished projects. He's always been open about this. However, I don't know where he got the pictures from, because her profiles are private. Some of the pictures were from her WhatsApp, but others I can't explain. I'm tempted to keep checking if this hidden folder gets updated. What do you think? Should I look at his other devices? I've resisted so far, but don't know how long I can hold out. Edit. I'm overwhelmed by all the responses. I didn't expect so much support, and some comments even brought me to tears. I feel a bit calmer now, but I'm sure it'll be another sleepless night. I have a plan. Tomorrow, he'll be at work, and I'll be home. I'm going to check his other devices. He lost his right to privacy when he took those pictures of her. I met this woman before, and she seemed like such a sweet person. It makes me furious. I will find out the truth, save any evidence, and confront him. Should I keep updating this post or start a new one? Update. Good morning, everyone. I'm sitting in front of his MacBook Pro right now while he's at work. I have no idea where to even start looking for evidence. I've always used Windows, so I'm not familiar with Macs. If anyone could guide me on where to find the photo stream, I'd really appreciate it. I didn't sleep much last night and feel empty inside. My heart is racing. He noticed something was off again this morning, but I blamed it on my period and migraines. Thanks again for the support. Update. I'm calling my sister. I'm in shock. This is too much for me to handle. Update. I'm at my sister's house now, spending the first night away from him in years. It's about 10 p.m. here in Europe. After someone suggested checking the Photos app on his Mac, I found a mirror of his phone and then some. There was a hidden folder with all the spy photos and an album labeled with her initials. What I found inside was the most disgusting thing I've ever seen. He had taken pictures and videos of himself ejaculating into prepped food in his office. Later, there were pictures of her eating that food. There were also images of him doing this to her coffee and cookies. I can't even describe how horrifying it was. I also found dozens of social media screenshots and recordings of her, though they aren't connected on any platform. I showed everything to my sister, who immediately helped me back up the evidence and pack a few bags. We left before he got home. He's been calling and texting non-stop, begging me to come home, saying we can fix this, but I haven't responded. I feel like such an idiot for falling for someone like him. I don't know what to do or how to face tomorrow. Should I contact her? Update. I decided to confront him. We met at our house, and I told him my sister knew where I was and would check in to ensure I was safe. I wasn't scared of violence, but wanted to be cautious. He was quiet, and I told him to explain himself. He claimed it was all a consensual bet between him and his secretary. Something about proving he could get her to unknowingly eat his sperm. He said the photos were taken with her knowledge, though I don't believe him. He also tried to intimidate me, saying no one would believe me and that going to the police could backfire, since he knows the chief prosecutor personally. I'm not falling for it. I've always been strict about boundaries in relationships, and he knows that. I'm contacting a lawyer for divorce, and I plan to meet her to show her the photos. Update. I met with her, and she had no idea any of this was happening. She was shocked and disgusted when I showed her the photos, and I apologized for what he had done. She plans to report him to the police and file a lawsuit. I'll continue to support her however I can. But this entire situation feels like a nightmare. I'm devastated and furious. I can't believe this is my reality. Update. She went to the police, and they called me to hand over the evidence. The next day, the police searched our home, and he handed over all his devices. I'm not sure what will happen next, but this has shaken my entire world. Second story, my future sister-in-law is requesting my phone records to support her restraining order against my fiancé's stalker. Am I legally permitted to provide them? I live in California, which might be relevant. My fiancé's ex, who he dated nearly 4 years ago, has been persistently harassing him since their breakup. After we started dating, about a year after they split, she tracked me down on Facebook, found my personal email, and even got my phone number. She began harassing me too, sending death threats, old love letters, and text messages from when they were together, all in an attempt to get me to break up with him so she could win him back. Things escalated to the point where we had to file a restraining order against her and her brother, who was helping her harass us. The reason we did this was because she managed to access my fiancé's iCloud account, remembering his password, and retrieved my private photos, his and other sensitive information, including our family's and friends' contact details. She threatened to leak my photos unless I left my fiancé, and even though I didn't break up with him, she spent the next 2 years sending my nudes to people I knew, trying to ruin my reputation. I lost friends and job opportunities because of it. She used VPNs, fake emails, and phone numbers to cover her tracks, making it hard to trace anything back to her. But we had an overwhelming amount of evidence: texts, emails, and voicemails. We eventually won the restraining order in court, thanks to all the intimate details only she and my fiancé knew from their time together. They tried to get the order revoked, but we won again. Now, they've started harassing my future sister-in-law, Sael, threatening to send our private photos to her contacts and coworkers at her wedding, so we're helping her get a restraining order. Here's where it gets complicated. The harasser's lawyer claims they have my phone records, supposedly proving I sent harassing messages to the ex. They're suggesting I'm the real culprit behind everything. My future CL wants me to hand over my phone records to clear things up. But how could they have gotten my phone records without my permission? Plus, I've changed my number 5 times over the past 3 years. My current number is only a few months old, so I'm confused. While it's true that out of frustration, I've sent derogatory texts to my fiancé's ex in response to her death threats and racist slurs, I don't want to incriminate myself by handing over my phone records. I'm worried they'll twist my words out of context. Should I just wait for an official court subpoena before giving them my records? The court date is in 10 days. TLDR. My fiancé's ex has been stalking and harassing us for years. My future sister-in-law is filing her own restraining order, and now they're demanding my phone records to prove something. I'm not sure what to do. Update. I ended up hiring my own attorney, and he advised me that I'm not obligated to hand over my phone records unless I choose to. If I do, I should redact numbers I don't want the harasser to have access to. We ended up having a video call with her lawyer, and we all agreed not to include my phone records. The reasoning was that if the harassers really wanted to use those texts, they should provide their own phone records. If they don't, then it's likely not important. My future sile wasn't happy with this decision and still wanted me to submit my phone records, fearing they might have already subpoenaed them. Which wasn't true. Despite our discussions, including with her lawyer, my relationship with my SIL has become strained. Our court date happened about a week ago, and it was an emotional roller coaster leading up to it. The harassers, my fiance's ex and her brother, did their best to conceal their identities and make our lives miserable. The day before the trial, they sent an email containing my nudes and a threatening message to my coworkers and even my dad. It was a vile email, warning people not to associate with me or face consequences. This kind of harassment has been constant over the past 2 years, to the point where I now feel the need to warn future clients about it. I've lost a client, and my Upwork profile was suspended after the harasser targeted them. I'm still working to resolve that. At the court hearing, my future SIL ended up dismissing her case without prejudice. The judge required solid evidence, especially given that the harassers used VPNs and fake numbers to cover their tracks. Even though we had proof they were harassing us, it didn't hold up for her case. To make things worse, the harassers tried to shift the blame onto my fiancé and me, demanding that my SIL cover their legal fees, totaling over $40. The bill even included costs from the 2 previous court cases they lost against us. So after all this, I've lost clients, some of my dignity, and now my relationship with my future SIL is on rocky ground. It's been rough, but at least the harassers are deep in debt and my fiancé is still with me. Even though the harassment continues, I work in an industry where leaked nudes aren't a career ender, and many colleagues and clients still support me. Today, I even had a good day surfing, so not everything is bad. Thanks to everyone who gave advice and support, it really helped. Third story, I came across sexually explicit texts on my husband's phone, and now I'm feeling hurt and unsure about how to address this situation with him. Hello, I'm sharing my situation here because I'm at a loss for what to do. I'm almost certain my husband is cheating on me. He refuses to acknowledge it, but I can't shake the feeling that I'm not just imagining things. Recently, he left his phone on the couch, and I noticed some messages from a woman I don't know. The content of the messages was far from innocent. It seemed he realized his phone was left behind and rushed back to grab it. I was nursing our baby while our other children were nearby, and I felt a surge of anger. All I could manage was to give him a fierce look, to which he responded with confusion. I told him, "You know what," and he dismissed me as paranoid. I decided to stop speaking to him for the rest of the night. After putting the kids to bed, I confronted him in our bedroom, asking what the messages were about. He claimed not to know what I meant. I insisted he wasn't going to treat me like a fool, having seen messages from a woman clearly discussing his anatomy. Why would any woman use such language innocently? I requested to see his phone. I don't usually behave this way, but I felt the need to uncover what he was hiding. Messages, pictures, videos, anything. He refused to let me look, which only confirmed my suspicions. He insisted he wasn't going to engage in this game with me. I ended up sleeping in another room that night. For context, I'm 35 and he's 42. We've been married for 8 years and have 4 daughters, the oldest being 6 and the youngest almost 1. I love him deeply, and he seemed to love me just as much. I still feel as excited to be with him as I did when we first met. I feel safe with him. He's the man I've always dreamed of. Even after a decade together, we have an undeniable chemistry. He's a fantastic father, engaged, loving, patient, and protective. He initially hesitated about having kids, but after meeting me, we decided to take the plunge and ended up having 4 daughters. Although we initially agreed on 4, we've been discussing the possibility of having 1 more. He has a demanding job that supports our family and requires him to travel several times a year for extended periods. Friends have asked if I ever worry about the time apart, but I never did. He keeps in constant contact, calling to speak with our kids every night, and nothing ever seemed amiss. The only thing that now feels strange is that I sometimes detected a foreign, perfumed scent in his suitcase when he returned from trips. I can't shake the feeling that he might be cheating while he's away. I'm feeling lost right now. He's likely erasing everything from his phone. I feel dizzy and desperate to know every detail about his actions. I refuse to be a fool who just sits at home. This is my worst nightmare. I trusted him completely. Update: I posted about the explicit texts I found on my husband's phone. I only saw a glimpse before he snatched it away. I wasn't snooping, it was just lying there, and the messages caught my eye. I certainly didn't expect anything inappropriate. He insisted I was being paranoid and that nothing was happening. I desperately tried to think of innocent explanations for the texts, but it quickly became clear there was none. Fortunately, I took some advice and accessed his forgotten iPad, which he rarely uses. I found not only the texts I'd seen flash on his phone, but many more. After a message from this woman about 2 months ago, he told her not to contact him again. If he was serious, he could have blocked her, right? Eventually, their exchanges resumed, primarily consisting of explicit conversations. I wonder where this woman came from. She must not have randomly texted him. When I confronted him with undeniable proof, he finally admitted that he met her during a business trip. And they had been together a few times before she started texting him again. He slipped up and almost revealed that he usually doesn't give his number to women he hooks up with. He was flustered, realizing I had figured things out, but he still wouldn't admit to anything beyond this one woman. He claimed there were no feelings involved, just flirting and sexting that he got carried away with. I can't just pack my bags and leave with 4 small kids. So, I told him to go, at least for now. I'm disgusted. He begged to stay and work things out, but I refused to talk to him. He's currently at a hotel. I can barely function. I'm overwhelmed with a mix of rage and sadness, often blaming myself. I know this sounds pitiful, but I'm terrified of becoming a single mom to 4 children under 7. At the same time, I don't want to be with him right now. 4th story. My husband backed up his new phone onto my laptop, and I discovered videos of him with other girls from before we met. I'm unsure how to feel about it. My husband has had the same phone for ages. He upgraded from the iPhone 8 to the iPhone 15, and the store clerk suggested we sync his new phone with the MacBook to back up all his previous data. However, when his new phone was backing up, I noticed he had photos and videos from before we got together, intimate ones with several other women. I felt so embarrassed and heartbroken. I know I shouldn't have, but I asked to see the photos to confirm the dates. I'm a curvier woman, short in stature, with most of my weight around my hips. I'm already self-conscious about my appearance, but this made me question how he feels about me. Some of the women were quite slim, and the images were just disturbing. He had videos of them performing oral sex on him, clearly filmed with his phone propped up. I know all these recordings were made before he met me, and I understand that iCloud automatically saves photos and videos when on Wi-Fi, but I'm still furious that he has these women on video. It makes me spiral with thoughts about whether he's bored with our sex life. I feel like I can't compete with what's on his phone, and he has previously mentioned wanting to spice things up between us. Right now, I don't even want to be intimate with him. I can't stop thinking about those degrading videos. How could those women allow themselves to be recorded? It feels so shameless. I'm honestly thinking about moving back in with my sister until I can sort through my feelings. He's a great husband, but I can't handle this right now. I'm utterly disgusted and don't even want to look at him. Update. As you suggested, I asked him to delete those videos, and surprisingly, he didn't seem upset. He appeared more concerned about my feelings, so we sat down and logged into his iCloud on the laptop. We ended up manually deleting over 50 videos and more than 200 photos of him with other women. All the videos seemed consensual, so I'm not worried about him being a creepy guy, but it's still strange to me that he would keep explicit videos. I'm starting to wonder if he was a porn star before we met, Some of these women looked like models, and I questioned why they would film themselves with him. It feels morally wrong. I asked him if he was selling these videos, and he assured me he would never do that because he values his privacy and wants a family. I'm still confused about why he had so many videos and different women. Why would they agree to it? I got more upset and directly asked him why, and how he'd feel if I were with multiple men. He had a goofy grin, and I couldn't tell if he was joking or serious. He tends to smile when nervous. He said he'd want me to delete anything with my exes and would want to watch the other videos. That made me more upset, because I couldn't tell if he was joking or trying to manipulate me into keeping some of them since they weren't his exes. It bothers me because if he was serious, does he not respect women? Why isn't he jealous? Who wants to watch their partner have sex? It feels like he brushed off my feelings and brought up the idea of spicing up our sex life. Why now? Is he trying to turn this around on me? I noticed he seemed a bit frustrated, but why? I'm the one who had to see all that on his phone. He mentioned how innocent I am, and that whenever he tries to do something out of the ordinary, I shut him down. For example, he once suggested a sexual act that I don't understand the appeal of. I don't see why he would bring this up now. It's unrelated to the situation. He claimed I made him feel weird about liking feet, which I don't get. I can't believe he doesn't find that odd. I regularly give him oral sex and am intimate when I'm feeling secure, so I don't see why he'd feel the need to spice things up. Does he want to film us together? Given how many other women he's been with, it feels less special. If he's bored with me, why won't he just say it? I feel like he's settling to spare my feelings. Right now, I'm more angry than hurt because he tried to shift the blame onto me. I really think I need to get away from him for a day or two to clear my mind. You all have given me valuable insights, but writing this just makes me angrier. I can't stop crying, and I keep flashing back to those images whenever I look at him or close my eyes. I need some distance to think clearly. I'll be staying at my sister's for the weekend and will update you all when I return home on Monday.